Uncharted has been a very special franchise to me personally. I absolutely love Uncharted, guys. This is a franchise that has spanned over the course of time here, from the PlayStation 3 to now. So pretty much 2007 is when we got Drake's Fortune. And then, of course, A Thief's End back in 2016. And then, of course, we had The Lost Legacy. And The Lost Legacy is obviously the last game and kind of the last memory imprint I remember about Uncharted. And it's kind of a bummer. I've said this in the past, that's the last images and thoughts in my mind are The Lost Legacy. Even though I know that The Lost Legacy was, not a direct continuation of A Thief's End, but it was obviously a side story, right? So what I want to talk about in this last segment of the show, where is Uncharted 5? Or is this a game that we're ever going to see at this point? Or is this going to be in a limbo state? Or is Uncharted, the series, done at this point? Because we've heard that there's a movie coming out, Uncharted movie, that Tom Holland is going to be, of course, playing as Nathan Drake. And that's that's awesome. If it is going to happen, which I'm really hoping it does, I think that it could be something special with Tom Holland playing as Nathan Drake. But nonetheless, Uncharted 5, guys, I think is a game and a franchise that should continue if Naughty Dog believes that they have something there, like as far as a continuation is concerned. Because we all know Naughty Dog, they're working on The Last of Us Part 2, which is going to be coming out at some point or another in the foreseeable future. But the fact of the matter is that I think Naughty Dog might just be thinking, look, we're going to work on The Last of Us 2. Maybe we'll come back to Uncharted. Maybe we'll just start a whole new IP. I think there's a chance, guys, that Uncharted is done at this point, because why continue trying to milk a franchise if there's a real concern that it's going to ruin the franchise? At the end of the day, it's all about money, but to me, Naughty Dog, I feel they want to work on things that not only are going to make them money, but are also stories that they want to tell. And The Last of Us, I think that they're obviously going to make at least 3 games out of The Last of Us games. So right now they're working on the second one. They probably will work on something else. Is it going to be Jak and Daxter? Is it going to be another Uncharted game? It's hard to say what they're going to work on next. But the thing is that I would love to see where they would go with Uncharted if they started, one of Nathan Drake's, family members, or, years later he becomes a side character and you play as, one of the other characters in the game, right? I would love to see a continuation, see like where the story goes. Just reminds me kind of like an Indiana Jones kind of story, even though it's its own thing, but I would love to see a continuation. However, when you talk about seeing continuations, you're also talking the potential of a game that isn't very good, something that people don't really like as much as the original games. Because I'll tell you this, from Drake's Fortune all the way to A Thief's End, those games just kind of got progressively better. I thought that the second one was better than the third one, but overall, it just felt like it was getting better and better as we went. And I don't know, guys. I feel that there's something there. There's still something there, and I believe that as far as where is Uncharted 5 at this point, I think that it's in a hiatus. Whether that's a permanent hiatus or a temporary hiatus, it's hard to say. It really comes down to Naughty Dog. I don't think Naughty Dog will ever sell the IP to another developer to work on. It's something that's definitely close to their heart. You can just tell. But I would love to see a continuation, and if it does really well, which they take their time, they do a really good job. I mean, Naughty Dog is making an aggressive approach to be one of the most respected developers out there in the world. Kind of reminds me of like a Rockstar Games, making games that are just, they're trying to push the barrier every single game that they bring out. And I think The Last of Us 2 is going to just be an example of that, a continued example of what they're trying to build over there at Naughty Dog. But all in all, guys, Uncharted 5, I think it's in a temporary hiatus. I'm not going to say that it's done completely, but there might be a possibility that it is. I mean, it was called A Thief's End, and I think it was called A Thief's End for a reason. Now, maybe it was the end of Nathan Drake's story, but maybe there's a continuation somewhere else. And I would love to see that. But you know what? If Naughty Dog said we don't want to, we don't trust that we're going to be able to make a good enough story moving forward in the, you know, Uncharted universe, then okay, leave it alone and work on a different IP. Just, you know, kind of work on The Last of Us and maybe something else, like a new IP. I'd love to see new stories that they can tell. But there's something about Uncharted that, you know, just the environments and just how exciting that story was. It was kind of it was just a fun story. The multiplayer was just starting to get really good in Uncharted: A Thief's End. It's hard to say, guys, where they might be going. But I think that if they trust that they can make a great story, Naughty Dog should 100% do it. But if they don't feel confident, I mean, just let it be. It's a franchise that, sure, I don't like that The Lost Legacy is the last kind of memory that I have. I would have rather had The Lost Legacy come out before A Thief's End, and then A Thief's End comes out, and that's the last, you know, the last of the franchise. If that's how they're thinking, like A Thief's End is, or The Lost Legacy was the last Uncharted they'll ever work on. But nonetheless, I mean, it was just one of the greatest stretches of games I've ever played, easily on the PlayStation. I think The Last of Us, after playing the first one, the story itself, I love the horror elements of it, and that's why I think I put it above Uncharted in my opinion. But Uncharted is such a great story. Certainly the top 3 all-time for me as far as PlayStation games are concerned. But I would love to see a continuation. But at the end of the day, guys, I think it's in a temporary hiatus. Maybe it'll be revisited at some point or another by Naughty Dog. And if they decide not to do it, I'll respect that decision 100% because they're not going to want to ruin the franchise for everyone else. But let me know what you guys think. Would you want to see an Uncharted 5, and where do you think Uncharted 5 is at this point? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Uncharted 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.